Hey, what up, guys? It's Julia Vamps, and who we got on the show today?
J.Cyrus.
J.Cyrus. You know what, Julia J, I think this was meant to be today. Didn't mean to do that, but I'm so happy.
Bars already.
Exactly. I'm spitting a little bit of bars. I'm about to hop in the booth real quick. Give me an open verse real fast, and I'll jump on one.
There you go. Let's get it.
I would murder it, not in a good way at all. So just to let you know.
I'll be the judge of that.
If you know, it's funny. I remember vividly. You just reminded me of the story vividly of my sister walking in. I thought at one point maybe I could sing, and I've always been into audio and recording and everything since I was a teenager. She walks in, and I'm like literally trying to record myself, like, and she's like, "What the hell?" I'm
the
like,
hands on the headphones.
Yes,
the hands on the headphones and everything.
I was trying to pull the Mariah Carey. So
the harder you push, the clearer you hit that note.
It was not the note I was looking for, but it was a note.
It was a note, and we know this. We know that it was a note.
I had to delete it. I got to get rid of the evidence for sure.
Oh man, you say your sister walked in on you?
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad, and I had like the cover over my head and everything. And she's like,
soundproofing. You're like, what are you
I was
doing
trying.
under there?
I was trying. Not good efforts at all. But speaking of trying, actually, you don't have to put any real effort, because one thing that I've noticed about you, we'll get to TikTok in a second, but you and your music it's truly effortless. And I love your versatility, by the way.
Thank you so much. I love hearing that. So I appreciate that.
You rap and you sing a little bit, right? Like I hear the notes in there. They're better than mine.
I like to think that I sing within range, you know?
Okay.
I don't ever try to go outside of anything that I think that I'm capable of, but also, you know, my voice is heavily produced. It's not like I can, you know, like, I mean, I feel like I'm more of a reference singer. Like if you have like if you have like a real good singer in the room, right, and I'm writing a song for them, I can take it to where it needs to be for them to take it where it's supposed to be.
Exactly. And I love reference tracks, by the way, whether they tell on you or not.
Right. Absolutely.
They're my favorite. But speaking of tracks, you just dropped a new track, Kind of Lonely. Kind of Alone.
Yes.
Kind of Alone. I'm sorry about that.
Yes. I just dropped that one recently. That.
But it does make me feel like, damn, it takes me to a place that I necessarily don't want to go to, but I know that when you're making music, it's from your heart, from your diary, from your mind. It's so many different things. And I'm glad that, you know, you're definitely further away from the sober release that you had. But let's talk about Kind of Alone.
Kind of Alone for me was this, it's like a doomsday song to me, in a sense of like, we had COVID.
Right.
And when it hit hard and everybody was kind of like confined to their houses, and, you know, they had to kind of live within their own space amongst their own people and things like that, like their circles and whatnot. For me, I was already in this position of, you know, kind of staying at home, not really associating with a lot of friends and being alone anyway.
Right.
And, you know, as somebody who suffers from bipolar disorder, like I also have this kind of this crux of being, you know, kind of trapped in my mind at sometimes, and my mind can be a terrible place.
Right.
So for me, it was like writing a song after watching a day's worth of news saying that the world was ending, and basically saying, well, my world's already ended. Like this isn't new to me. I guess, you know, like maybe I'm more alone than I thought I was, because it's such a surprise to everybody else that, you know, the end is near, and it's always, you know, it's somebody who struggles with these kind of things. The end is always near.
Right.
You know, and not to get too dark, but that's just how it is. And that's just my truth and my reality. So I wanted to put it in a way that was kind of happy enough, uplifting, as if like, hey, like this is just another day for me, us, whoever deals with these kind of things or can relate. Let's just dance with it. Let's just, like, I have a lot of songs where I just grab depression and I dance with it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like definitely that you said that. Because it's not exactly the same as you normally would for like a sad song. It's one of those things that you would just kind of like, it reminds me, what's that song? I forgot. I was like, all the other kids with the pumped up kicks.
Yeah,
remember that? So nobody
Foster
knew.
the People.
Yeah, I was like, nobody knew. He's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. That's really kind of exactly what it is. It's like, kind of a really dark subject matter, but it's in such a happier progression that it's like, and that's essentially what it does for me. Is it's like, I can either sit here and be miserable in this, or I can try to find some kind of light in it and make art out of it. So,
absolutely, I love that. So, what are your next couple of things? Are they gonna like reflect that your next couple of singles, your projects that you might be releasing this year? Because this is your first single for this year, correct?
Yes, this is my first single for this year. I've done some features with other artists that'll be slowly released. But I think, I've for the past 2 years, I've been very experimental with how my sound is.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And yeah, and I feel like with these new viral TikToks of, just complete like rapping, doing so well, and the feedback being so much of like, like this is what we want, I might just try to drop something like that soon, like just kind of straight raw to the grit, just bar for bar, whatever, because it's not only the easiest thing for me to do, but I think I have the most fun doing it, in a sense of like, there's not much more to worry about. Like when I do that stuff, I'm just like, oh, but did I hit the melody? There's no melody. Or, oh, did I, get this? Or is the hook fire enough or whatever? So like, I think I'm just going to get in touch with my engineer, and we're just going to try to bump out a couple of singles of just like old J.Cyrus stuff.
Yeah. Because I noticed too, you have the ability to kind of really, I guess, get J. Cole with it, but you mix it with a little bit of like Amigos type of feel.
Yeah.
So if you're not paying attention, you'll miss that.
And I think there's like probably a relevance of just like trying to stay current there. Like whereas I feel J. Cole's phenomenal.
Right.
I don't think, a lot of, I mean, this is just, I think Migos is like more palatable for radio.
Right.
And like what people are bumping in their cars on the way to functions or whatever. Not to say that they're not bumping J. Cole, because they definitely are.
Right.
But I think the fusion of the two is more of like, man, like this is something that both fan bases can listen to.
Yeah.
Whereas to like, it's not weird to say a lot of people who are obsessed with Migos don't really mess with J. Cole, and vice versa. So
there's a good in between there.
Yeah, I love having that, that juxtaposition of like, it doesn't matter where it goes, it's just going.
Definitely.
So.
And then speaking of your TikToks, because now that I'm thinking about it, that we're having this conversation, like the fusion between J. Cole and Migos, you kind of can say you kind of pull a little bit of the Ludacris there, and you do a great impression of Ludacris. That's how I actually stumbled upon you, because I was like, who the hell? Like, nah, who is this guy? I'm like literally looking at my phone, like, this is insane. He's so good.
That's the only one that I do, like the bars kind of TikTok that I've done where I'll go back and listen to it because I'm so proud of it.
You should be. That was like, I thought that Ludacris wrote that for a second. It's definitely something that Ludacris would write.
Which is what I was aiming for. So that's good. I'm glad that you feel that way. I love Ludacris. I mean, Ludacris is a huge inspiration to me. I think, he came on the scene at a time where, it's not like there wasn't any representation from that area of the country, but he really just kind of showed like exactly what it is to be a rapper in the South. Right then and there, like not just the South, but like Atlanta. And I mean, like I didn't live in Atlanta or anything. I'm from New Orleans myself, but I was brought up in the Creole cockpit of like New Orleans music and New Orleans rap, and it was Cash Money and No Limit.
Right.
And it was like, to me, nobody else was doing that because they weren't. I think everything was very indigenous to like New Orleans, like everything that they would talk about, the slang, the way they would bend words. I thought it was just so New Orleans. And I didn't get it from anywhere else. I didn't think the Houston vernacular and everything was very much different. But when Luda came out, like when he started to deep bend words like truck and like, all this other stuff, I was like, damn, what is this? Like, this is amazing to me. Like I was hooked. And then on top of that, the Neptunes with the Southern Hospitality beat, that was one of my favorite beats of all time.
Nah, they got nasty with that. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Disgusting. I love that beat.
I think I remember being like 10 or 11 or something when that came out. Had no business listening to it at all. First of all,
right.
Had no business listening to that. But I would be in the backseat. My mom's car like, yeah.
Dude, I'm just golden bows. I was the same way. I was the same way. I couldn't
business listening to it. But hey, listen, we have the culture that we have today because of influential people like that. I believe you have the ability to actually do that. And I actually did not know that you were from New Orleans because you don't have that. New Orleans definitely has
accent.
The accent is so thick.
It used to be very thick.
No way.
I went to school for broadcast.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it makes sense.
They unlearned all that in me. But when you get me around my family, though, it's over.
Oh man,
over. You definitely hear it. It definitely comes out. Or if I get upset, it comes out. But I mean, the thing about it is, it's like a lot of people will take the New Orleans accent and try to decipher where it comes from and what it is and all this. And it's just New Orleans. That's
definitely.
It's a port city. I mean, it's very culturally diverse. There's a lot of history there. Beautiful things in the ugly in that city, and I love it. I love it. I love how we speak. I love how we eat, how we cook. Everything about that city, I love it. So
definitely,
I love
a
that part too. Of me.
And it's definitely not going anywhere for sure because I do hear a little bit of the Southern accent, not too much New Orleans in your rapping, but just it's very light. Because I knew you were from the South, but I had no idea you were from New Orleans for sure. Yeah, no, when I first started rapping, I think I was definitely just trying as best as I could to sound exactly like Wayne. And then, I feel it. And then I started to realize and I think this is just like a realization that you have as an artist sometimes. Like, you when you do so many things and you're so influenced and you let it rub out that much, you start to realize maybe I'm just a good version of something that's already great. And that's when I started to switch it up. That's when I was like, all right, like this is good, but we've heard it before. Definitely. So that's really what I came to ties with when I started doing all of the experimental stuff. Well, I'm glad you don't sound like Lil Wayne anymore because you definitely do sound like J.Cyrus, and that's the most important thing that we have right now because we wouldn't be talking to you if you did. I would be like, who is this? Nah, we wouldn't have you on this show for sure. Wayne doesn't even sound like Wayne anymore. So, I mean, that's true. I was actually watching an interview with him too. Not that that's a bad thing, Wayne, but I miss, the no ceilings. I miss the squad up Wayne. Oh, you really digging in there for it. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's dug in there. Absolutely. You said no single, straight albums. Straight albums. That's it. Definitely. So speaking of influences, I wanted to ask, just to dig a little bit deeper, who actually got you into create music? And then we'll backtrack a little bit to your broadcasting days, because even when you hopped on this call, it's like, man, he sounds like a radio guy. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that was the aim from college. So at least I got something out of it. But as far as who got me into music, I was raised in a very musical background. My father was the Louisiana Music Commissioner. Wow. So yeah, he was just that's a big deal. Always surrounded by New Orleans artists, Aaron Neville, the Neville brothers. Everybody within that umbrella of New Orleans jazz and Zydeco music. I mean, they all were guests on his television show. They were, they came in his radio show. They were friends of the family. So I was surrounded by musicians and music and art my entire life. And it got to the point where, I never learned how to read music or anything like that. But we had so many instruments in one room of the house that, like my punishment was always to just stay in that room. Like go in there and stay in that room. Don't come out. So I would always just play every single instrument, get on the mic, just hear myself talk, everything that I could do. And then it got to a point where I was like, I felt a little abandoned, my parents were good parents overall, but so I would play music and I'd be like, man, I know I'm in here and I'm punished. But if I play something sick on this guitar or this bass or these drums, Pops might come in and be like, yo, what's going on in here? Punishment over. And sometimes he would, and he would jam with me. And I would, that's when I became obsessed with music. And then, of course,
I think just kind of being that young at that time, the No Limit Cash Money era was something that really, took over my youth, because it was just so much of like a representation of everything around me.
Right.
That, you see all this stuff on TV, on MTV and VH1 and all these things when you're growing up, and they're not representing New Orleans at all.
Right.
And then you see like New York rap and all this stuff. And you're like, man, this is such a powerhouse. Like, if you like rap, it's got to be New York rap because that's the only thing out. And then Cash Money No Limit come along and you're like, oh, this is so New Orleans. Like, this is
crazy.
This is exactly what I've been surrounded by. So that became so much of a thing to me where it's like I had to learn every single lyric ever written. I was, looking up where music videos were being shot, like.
Oh, you're a real student then, for sure.
Oh yeah, like I was trying to go there. I was trying to, it's crazy, and it's crazy. What's crazy now is like being mutuals with people like Juvenile on Instagram,
right.
And like meeting those people and being like, damn, like this is full circle. Like this is so dope.
Definitely. Have they even expressed any interest in possibly collaborating with you? Because it's not like you're those up and coming rappers where you're like, eye roll, here we go again. But you actually have a lot of talent there. So have guys like Juvenile. We haven't gotten a response yet from Luda, but I'm confident he'll definitely reach out at some point. But guys like Juvenile or even Birdman, have they expressed anything?
I haven't heard anything from that camp as far as Birdman or Weezy even goes. Like, I've been in the same room as Wayne, and it was like a very professional thing that I didn't want to go up and be like, here's my entire childhood and how you were a part of it and molded it. But Juvie, like, it's crazy. Before Vine, before I did anything on the internet, when I was still in college, I opened up for Juvenile at a club called 527 in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Wow.
And I was like, that was like the biggest moment for me back then. And afterwards, I ended up just being, if you're from New Orleans, just say a couple of things and people know right away, like, oh, this is a big fan. This is a day one, or this is somebody who's from New Orleans for sure. And I think me saying stuff like that around him, he was like, oh, I fuck with this dude. He's cool. And I actually played a game of pool with him. He was mad cool. And we went our separate ways. And I never heard from him for a long time. But then just recently, I guess whoever runs his social media had saw that I followed him and was like, hey, like, I noticed you do funny stuff. Would you want to do a video for his rap hotline, which is like a thing that he's doing? And I did it. And, he saw it. He thought it was hilarious. He put it on his thing and he followed me back. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, and then so I had mentioned, I opened up for you like years ago. And he's like, oh man, Murfreesboro. I remember Murfreesboro. So it was
full circle.
It was cool. Yeah, it was really cool. And, I don't know if you remember Baby Boy the Prince. He came out with like
sounds so familiar.
This is the way I live.
Oh, that guy.
So he was like a big New Orleans artist too. And I actually opened up for him years before that.
Wow.
And, this is when I was like rapping on a Walmart mic in between two mattresses in my basement. It was, so I was just like,
you were really grinding.
Like I was grinding. And that was a good time for me too. But yeah, no, Luda hasn't reached out. But what's funny about Luda is that back in 2013, I believe it might have even been before that. Karma was young. He was doing press for Jackass, whatever Jackass movie he was affiliated with at the time.
We don't know which one, but we know it's one of them.
He came through this little town that I used to run a zip line and ropes course in. And I remember that day vividly. I was like setting up the harnesses, and this girl that I work with was like, look at this Ludacris looking ass dude coming in here. And I looked up and I immediately just looked back at her and I was like, that is Ludacris. And she was like, you could see like the realization set in. She like, her whole body just, I was like, don't be fucking weird. Like, so we harnessed him up and man, we took him on the zip lines and it was so funny because I had like this hustle and flow type moment where I wanted to hand him my music at the end because I had like a CD of probably the worst stuff I had ever recorded. But to me, I was like, this is it. Luda's going to put me on if he hears this. So Luda's leaving, he doesn't say really bye to any of us. He was really cool during the tour. He was very talkative. He was cool, but he's leaving. He's getting in this van to leave, like this taxi. And I'm like, this is my shot. So I grab a CD out of my coworker's car that I know he has of mine. And I run over and I go, man, I don't want to spend the whole rest of my life thinking, what if? So please, man, here's my music. And he just takes it and puts it in the front pocket of the seat in front of him. And was like, yeah, man, thanks. I'll check it out. And I'm like,
no, he's not.
No, he's not. He's definitely not. He's going to chuck that tape in the trash just like he did in Hustle and Flow. And I'm sure that's what he did. Honestly, my dream scenario is that he never listened to it.
Yeah, you know what? It might be a good thing. Yeah, exactly. It might be. It was
bad.
But it'll be hilarious to share the story with him when you guys finally do meet.
Absolutely. It was a good time.
So just to kind of, before we start wrapping up, TikTok, this is where you've obviously really like kind of launched into the stratosphere with everything, because that's where I've actually found you. And you have been racking up so many views and plays and interactions with so many different people. So what made you actually, outside of the fact that TikTok is obviously the popular platform and kind of dictates things right now outside of Instagram, made you jump on to TikTok?
So originally I wasn't really a fan of how things were going over there and what was really kind of showcased in the spotlight on the app. And before it was TikTok, it was Musical.ly, which was even more of like the lip syncing children kind of thing.
Right.
And a lot of people who just discovered me on TikTok don't know this, but I actually had millions of followers on Vine.
Wow.
A while back, just from doing comedy stuff, of course, but also I used to have a series called Rap Like a Toddler, and it was like 6-second loops of maybe 3 to 4 bars of rapping from the perspective of like a 4-year-old, like about getting lost in the mall, finding your mom, stuff like that, like riding a big wheel, like. But it was just like straight. I would just like make the craziest beats, and then just like the delivery was on point. And like because all I had to do was 4 bars. So like I just went crazy with it, but it would loop. That platform set it up to where it would loop. And if you knew what you were doing in time signature, you can make it loop perfectly.
Right.
And so that kind of catapulted, because it was so watchable and it was so loopable, that the loops would be insane on those videos and the views would be insane. And then, I did character work and all kinds of, funny voiceover stuff. And then my Vine career just kind of took off. And that was at a time where you had to be doing something to get noticed. You didn't have a For You page.
Exactly.
So I held a lot of value in that. And then one day it died, and I didn't really find another platform to really go to with that same kind of nuance of like short form videos, and Musical.ly was there, but again, the
it's more
spotlight,
for kids.
Yeah, it was more for kids. And then, within the last year or two, I think TikTok just kind of took on this beast of, having actual talented, a lot of funny people, TikToks that I die laughing at.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm going to contribute to this zeitgeist of like content. I'm going to like put myself back in there and start making stuff again. And sure enough, it worked. So yeah.
And here we are. That's wild, because when I think about TikTok, I do feel like it is like, it reminds me of like a Arnold Palmer drink kind of. It's like half talented and then half like what the fuck is this? Like, what I mean?
Something for everyone.
Exactly.
And
you can't miss there.
A lot of times I look at TikToks and I feel like the slogan should be TikTok. Anybody can do it.
I think that's the truth, though. I think that's the truth.
Just try,
just do it.
Just give it a whirl. I know you're out there thinking there's no way that what I can do will get 15 million views, but I've seen it. I've seen Johnny Anyman get 50 million views for, and it's not always in the best light. That's the thing about it. I think it enables a lot of like harsh criticism, and man, like, if I was somebody that had no business in front of a camera and then I forced myself to do it, and then everybody's response was like, this sucks, I wouldn't be able to handle it. But some of these people are like, I don't give a shit, and they keep posting. And I'm like, that's a skill. That's actually a talent. So look at something, know it's like awful, hit post, and then receive the feedback and be like, I don't care, I'm going to do it again. Like.
I think there's like one person on TikTok that does receive like the worst reviews, and it's for her cooking. It's like a black chick, and she does, and I hate to say this, but she does the most very non-cultural cooking.
Really?
And a lot of black people are upset. They're like, what are you doing? Why are you putting raisins in your fried chicken again? Like, it's stuff like that.
I did see a woman doing something like that with pickles, I think.
Yeah, it could be her.
I think she was like putting it all in a jar too. And I was like, who's buying that?
That chick. Oh, yeah. Oh,
she's like, hit me up on the gram.
And I know exactly what you're talking about.
Then she was like sharing people's orders. And I was like, all right. Again, there's something for everyone.
Exactly.
TikTok. That's what it is.
You should give it a go.
Yep. TikTok. You got 15 seconds? Like, you can make it happen. And what's funny is there's a lot of people that get super popular on there for the most mediocre things ever.
Yeah.
And then when they're hit up for like a brand deal where they have to like advertise something, you quickly realize that they were never meant to be in front of a camera.
Right.
Because like the brand is like, hey man, what's up? Not too much, man. Trying to find a good flight deal for a flight to Paris. Are you kidding me? You should just use this. And it's like, okay, now we realize you should have never been in front of the camera.
Stroke of luck. That's all that was.
Stroke of luck.
Listen, the real outlast all the fake stuff. And I think that
that's true.
You're definitely going to be around long. Obviously, from Vine to now, and that's not even something I knew. You're standing the test of time. So it says a lot about how talented you genuinely are.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Exactly. So trust me, we'll still be hearing from you years from now. So it's nothing.
I hope so, Julia. I hope so.
Absolutely. So this is my favorite part of the show. It's called 5 Fast Facts. You've got to drop 5 gems about yourself that your fans already don't know. And you've given us a lot of good gems, but
I know. I feel like I gave it all away.
No, I don't. I think you got something down here that you can just pull out and just start shooting, man.
Okay, let me think. I've never had cheesecake.
Okay.
That's a big one. I hate the taste of cilantro.
Oh, what?
It's like soap to me. I can't eat it.
No way.
Yes.
Damn. Okay.
I have a large sensory problem to light.
Oh, so that's why it's dark in there.
Yeah, it's very dark in here. I have one light that's like killing me, but I'm doing it.
Don't worry, we're almost done, so you can turn it off.
Let's see what else. I'm a huge fan of K-pop music.
No way, yo, that's a good fact. That's crazy.
I'm a huge fan of K-pop music, and I guess my last fact would be, from the age of 20 to 27, I couldn't see out of my left eye.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
I had a terrible ziplining accident, but
sheesh.
With way too much money in surgery later, I fixed my retina, so I'm good.
Well, at least you can see now, and that's what's most important.
I can see clearly now.
I can see clearly. Exactly. We about to do it together. Well, Jay, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. We're going to see you, like I said, for the next couple years, beyond that, all of that. And I can't wait for your next project this year, by the way. Absolutely. I can't wait to release it, and I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. Definitely. Well, Jay, thank you again. I'm Julia Vamps. This is J.Cyrus. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening.